Angela, I am so excited to be interviewing you today. Thank you so much for joining us on the Twitch podcast.
Thanks for inviting me.
So, as is quite usual, I'm going to start with a really easy question. What's your name and where do you come from?
So, my name's Angela Wilkinson. I was born in Stockport but grew up in Crewe. And then half of my life I spent in Spain.
Lovely. And we're going to hear lots about your travels today, aren't we?
Only the uncensored part.
The bits we're allowed to talk about.
Yes. Yeah.
But before we get into that, obviously we've known each other for quite a few years now. And we met originally through your brilliant support of young people and helping to develop their careers. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So when I came back from Spain, I've always been in the travel industry. And it was a bit of a shock to the system that a lot of people thought that I didn't have the experience to go back into the travel industry. Crazy, really. So I ended up selling property overseas and then got made redundant. And I went and worked in what was Kingsgrove, which is now the Oaks Academy. I was a temp, supposed to stay for a week and stay there 8 years. And what was so good about Kingsgrove was it was a careers and enterprise school. And after about 12 months, I ended up mentoring young people in business. So we had a travel agent, surprise, surprise. And we used to work with South Cheshire College. We had a bank and we were supported by Lloyd's. We had Fair Trade Shack, and we also had the first shop in the UK with Ryman, so they kitted it all out.
You had a whole enterprise part going on in the school.
Absolutely. We interviewed properly. They went through a proper interview process. They had to apply. Some of the CVs were a bit scratchy, as you can imagine, at 12, 13 years old. But even now, I have my first shop manager on my social media, and he's doing phenomenal. Absolutely. He's got his own business. Very enterprising young chap. I always knew he'd go far. So I absolutely loved working with young people. Yeah. And that's how, it progressed as it went on with the pledge.
It did.
And, and yourself.
And that was a massive, when we met, and obviously having heard all of that you'd already done with young people and the skill set that must have given them to go into their careers. Then by the time we met, you were obviously known as like the queen of networking. There wasn't a person you didn't know or couldn't introduce us to, I don't think, when we started working together.
I think I'm one of these people that I see a connection. I think, right, I need to get them together because I know that it'll work and I know that you'll get a lot out of it, both parties. And I think in that line of working for the Chamber of Commerce, I absolutely loved that part of my job. It was like, I know they could work really well together. Yeah. Or I know who to introduce people to. And I still do it now on the quiet. Yeah. Or you need to contact that person because, you'll be able to help each other. So I do a little bit of networking, but I'm no longer the queen.
But at that point, it was massively beneficial to us. And the people that you connected us to, the different businesses that have then gone on to do as you were doing within the school and supporting young people to develop the skills for their careers has been amazing in the local area, particularly across the Crewe and Antwich area.
Yeah, very much want to give back to the next generation because I think we can all resonate. Growing up at 16, you have no clue what you want to do. None whatsoever. And even when we used to go around the careers fairs at the pledge, I think they still do those at the college, I would go up to a child who looked absolutely lost. And I used to go, what is your passion? What do you really like doing? And young girls that did car mechanics. I'm like, right, well, you need to go and speak to that person over there. And I think that's what's missing in schools now still. You rely on somebody to inspire you, don't you? And I think that's what the pledge was great for. It brought businesses and young people together, and it's still doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned passion there, which I think brings us on to our next phase of discussion, which is your own passions. And you've already alluded to it. It started very much in the travel industry.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And it's gone full circle back to that. What's been happening in recent years?
So when I was still at the Chamber, I started teaching Spanish because I learned Spanish. Didn't speak a word of it when I first went to Spain, and slowly progressed, worked for large tour operators, a holiday rep. I ran a big excursion department in Tenerife for air tours as it was. Learned Spanish from my colleague. She was absolutely brilliant at Spanish and I had to speak to a lot of Spanish suppliers. So I came home and I thought, right, I'm going to teach Spanish. Now, I didn't write the course. A South American lady wrote it, but you could buy it. And I've had the money back tenfold from it. But what I really enjoyed was teaching Spanish. I've taught about 50 people locally with small cohorts between sort of 5 to 10 people. But it's fun. It's not where you sit at a desk going, oh, I've got to learn all these verbs. I get people speaking Spanish from the first lesson. And I think for any language, it's building that confidence to use it. So even now, my first group, there's a guy who actually has a house in Mercia, not far from me, and I actually went to see him and read a chat and had a beer, obviously. So when I was teaching Spanish, I used to get asked, "Oh, Angela, where can I go on holiday here? What can I do?" I thought, do you know what? I could go back into retail. I know a lot more than I did at 17 when I first started in Nantwich many, many years ago. And that's where my passion was reignited, really. I thought, right, do you know what? I can do this because so many people told me I couldn't. And I thought, well, I'm going to show
It's
you.
motivated you to want to do it even more.
Oh, absolutely. And plus, my nickname now, Stacey, is the Judas Chalmers of Crewe because I'm never here. Well, I try.
Yeah, I can understand why you've got that nickname.
I was pretty gutted when she passed away, actually, because I think she was an inspiration to everybody. You know, each week you'd say, oh, you could go to this place and that place.
Yeah.
But my mum was a big inspiration for me. I was at the college. And I think when you first go to higher education, one, it's a shock. And two, the course just wasn't for me. It really wasn't. So I can resonate with young people that go to college and think, oh, I really don't like this, you know. So my mum said to me, she said, well, why don't you go into, to travel? I'm like, oh my God, I don't know anything about traveling. But at that point, I had been on a cruise to Ibiza before it was Ibiza. Yeah, that sounds like fun. And I ended up working on what is now an apprenticeship, a YTS. And fortunately, I didn't get a place at South Cheshire College. I got a day release in, well, it was like a week release when we used to do it then, at Stockport College. So that was like, oh, I'm with more fun people. They're from Manchester. Because, when you're young.
Trendy city people.
Yeah, and it was great. You know what I mean? And part of the course, we went to Brighton for our UK visit and we went to Benitsis in Corfu. Now, that was before all the 18 to 30s hit there as well. So I was very fortunate to see the real side of these places. I think as time goes on, it gets more commercialised. And that was it for me. That was totally it. Got very, very promoted very, very quickly, though. At 21, I was a branch manager of what was Pickford's Travel, which eventually became Thomas Cook in Hanley. And I say this, what made you go to Spain, Ange? Well, I was driving down the D road, the A500, no lights as it was then, raining as it always is in England, and I had to pull over into lay-by. And if I hadn't pulled over into that lay-by, I'd have been in a 4-car pile-up. So at 21, you sort of resonate and go, travel industry is not great money, it never was. And you can get badly paid in Spain. So that's how I ended up in Mallorca, in Calador. And that's always will and always has had a special place in my heart. Unfortunately, I can't afford to buy a property there because it's probably the third most expensive place in Spain.
Is that because you've done your job so well and promoted the area?
Yeah. Absolutely. Because that part of Mallorca is so different to your Magalufs, your Alcudias, because they don't allow high-rise buildings there. It's all very low level.
Lovely.
And
well protected.
Yes. And it's got 7 coves. So you can always find a little part of a private beach. Well, I hope you still can, because it's been, 20 years since I've been back to Mallorca. And that was it then. Ended up working for Intersun in the Costa del Sol because they had no jobs in Mallorca. Came home, had an interview. 10 days later, I was on mainland Spain. Didn't know anybody. And that's what the rep in life is. You would meet people, you become a small family for 6 months, and then you'd go on to your next destination.
Now, I am going to have to ask you a bit more about repping because it has a certain reputation being a travel rep, doesn't it?
It does.
And I can imagine that there are a whole host of stories that you
Which
could
I
tell
can't
us
talk
about.
about.
Do you have any family-friendly stories you could tell us about from your repping days?
Well, I'll tell you why I've rebranded myself. Because when I was a holiday rep, unfortunately, you used to get a lot of overbookings in the height of the summer. And you used to get questionnaires filled in about you. So you always were really nice to people, even though half the time they weren't very nice to you at first because there was a problem, because that's what you're there for. So this poor couple got overbooked in Calador, funny enough, over a Indian restaurant. So you can imagine it didn't smell quite pleasant either. And when I used to go for my duties, I used to go around the resort finding people because the receptionist used to lie to me and say, oh, no, we've got no overbookings today. I'd go all over the resort. So when I helped this couple out, they basically said, do you know what, Ange? You should be called Angel, not Angela. And that's why I've
Aw.
called myself Travel Angel.
That's a great story. So,
Brilliant backstory, isn't it?
brings us perfectly to now running your own travel company.
Yeah, it's very, very scary. Like anybody would say with their own business, it's like, oh my God, it's all on me. But I do still have a part-time job as well, because I'm not quite at that point where it sustains me. To be fair, for the first couple of years, it was more of a hobby. It was more, I can help my friends, I can make sure they go somewhere nice on holiday. But now I really want to step it up, hence the rebranding. And I've also got another part of my company called Soul Searching Travel Club.
Okay, tell us about that then. That's a new one.
It is. It's been running probably about 18 months. We've had a couple of in-person meetups. So during COVID, my mum, again, my inspiration, she got very lonely. Obviously, a lot of people did. And unfortunately, as age went on, she lost people. And she would have loved a travel companion, not necessarily blind date like Scylla, a travel companion. So my idea was I could run tours from the local area, or people could join and meet me in resort. And they would have that support, even though you can go on guided tours and have a guide, but they'd have somebody with them all the time. So this is where my idea came about. So it's not just for solo travelers, even though it's called soul, but it's soul as in travel is good for the soul. People like myself who've got partners that don't want to go to certain destinations. I want to go to Thailand. He doesn't. I want to go to Australia. He doesn't. So I thought there's got to be quite a few of us like that. You'd be surprised how many women I've spoken to going, well, my husband doesn't want to go there and he doesn't want to do a cruise. And I'm like, okay, so that's where the ethos came from. It came from that idea. So my plan next year and subsequent years is to take at least 6 tours, one every other month, to different places. And providing I can get between 12 and 15 people, then it's sustainable.
Yeah.
And I get to see more places and they feel like they're supported and they're not on their own, because a lot of people might not want to go to Thailand on their own. They might not want to do a city break on their own.
Yeah.
And then you've got the choice. If you want to go with a group, you can. But you know there's always going to be somebody there you can talk to.
Yeah, and you've got that safety aspect because you're not traveling alone, and you're still sharing it with people who are interested in being in those places.
So when I was there, I did Nantwich Pride. I had a little stall there, and I've met some fantastic people. I've got a lady that's a serial cruiser. I've stole her from Tui, in crew, and she is just such an interesting person. And for me, I learn off people like that. I've just been to part of Vertical Travel Group, which is the oldest home working company in the UK. And for me, it's nice because there's only about 200 of us, so we all get to know each other. Yeah, so part of Vertical Travel Group, and I met this lady who's another home worker. She's based further down south, and she like swims in the Arctic. She's one of these cold water swimmers. Wow. I'm sorry, I'm a fair weather swimmer. And you know the stories they tell you. I mean, they're in the 70s and what they've done, and I'm thinking, God, I hope I reach that age and I'm like that.
Yeah, adventurous soul.
I think I am always looking for my next adventure. I am a serial traveller. Japan this year, next year Mallorca, I'm going back, and Egypt, and then the following year it's the big 6-0, and that's my South America trip. I've always wanted to go to Colombia. It's because it's probably the next up and coming resort. It's absolutely beautiful.
So you want to see it as it's rising
before all the tourists hit and the Instagrammers. Because let's face it, yes, you can take fantastic pictures, but it's the memories that you build. Even growing up, my daughter and I, we never used to buy each other Christmas presents. We always used to do something together. It'd either be a spa or a city break or a Christmas market. That was one of our favourites. And whether you say the apple falls far from the tree or not, my daughter now lives in Lanzarote. She's a serial traveller. She's just come back from the Formula One in Barcelona with her boyfriend, you know. Amazing. So it's like it. And so I think for us, the travel has gone through our generations. But that's probably because, I'm going to tell you a little bit of history here. My family bought ice cream to Crewe. My family are part where the Deluc is. So my great-great-granddad walked from Italy to Crewe. He went past Manchester because he'd heard of this fantastic new railway town that was happening. And he bought gelato to Crewe.
That is a great history story.
We've got some fantastic history.
That's brilliant.
So next year, part of my travel inquisitiveness is I'm going to find where my family are from, near Genoa in Italy.
Amazing.
So-
Now, this might have just answered my next question, because you've listed an awful lot of places that you've been to around the world. And I wonder, have you got a favourite?
Oh my gosh, now a lot of people are going to pull their faces in light of what's been happening in the world. But I absolutely did not think I would love America.
Okay.
Last year we did Nashville, New Orleans again, because we love music.
That's on my list of places to go to.
Memphis we'd already done. Once you've seen Elvis's house, you've seen it, but I'm glad I've done it. And then we've done all of California. San Diego is a favourite. And I'd never thought I would say that, because everybody thinks of Florida, Disney, which is great. I mean, I've had some great times years ago in Disney, but now it'd probably be my worst nightmare unless I had grandkids.
Yeah.
But then I'm really looking forward to my next trip in September. I'm going to Japan.
Oh, fantastic.
So
So what will that include?
So fortunately, we've got some fantastic suppliers, and a company that I've used has actually done a 12-day tour, flying into Tokyo. The only thing I'm dreading is the 26-hour flight. A few days in Tokyo, then on to Hiroshima, Osaka, and Kyoto, and then I fly back from Osaka. 12 days on all the trains, so it's like a self-tour, but then we have some tours within the tour. So, for example, we'll go to Mount Fuji. I'm really looking forward to going to all the food areas in Osaka. There is a theme here, food and
That's
drink.
got to be one of the best bits of travelling around, the food.
Oh my gosh, yeah. For me, it's going out there and trying the different restaurants. Giving you an example, I've just been on our travel conference in Gran Canaria. We did a fantastic day tour with a guide to the old town of Las Palmas, and they were actually preparing for the Pope, because the Pope visited.
Wow.
And then he was going on to Tenerife. And I said to the guide, look, can you do me a little itinerary, somewhere where you would go as locals, away from the tourists? So we ended up having lunch in a cave. It was amazing. And then we found these natural pools that she told us about, from an inlet from the sea. And for me, it's getting out there and seeing the real Spain, real Canaries. I've been to Greece, unfortunately not enough, I don't think. That's probably down the line. But as you get older, I think you want to go a bit further afield and see different places. And
that has to be one of the benefits of a person looking to book a holiday or an experience, coming to somebody like yourself that has a company that's actually based on all of those experiences and that knowledge and those connections.
I can give like the insider tips that your normal travel agent probably can't. I've lived in a lot of areas in Spain and the Canaries. Like you said, I've done a lot of traveling. I'd be here all day if I listed where I've been to. Love a city break. I think Porto is my next city break, and that's probably one of the areas that it'll be probably my first trip, because it's not too far afield and it breaks people in gently. Because I'm not just saying just ladies, no disrespect, but because there's a lot of lonely gents as well. It's their time to sort of make friends and share a passion. And for me, like with the school, it was a passion, like helping the children. For me, travel's my passion. It'll never go away. Once you get sucked into the travel industry, it never goes away. I'm going to tell you a little story here. My travel conference in Gran Canaria, I've had this picture on my wall in my bedroom for 20 years of me repping. There's a bloke on that picture. I could not remember his name for 20 years. More than that, actually. No, it's 34. And at the travel conference, we're going into a new consortium. We're moving from Mid-Counties Co-op to Advantage Travel, which are a fantastic partnership. This guy stood up and he started talking. He was doing a presentation. I'm going, I know him. I really know who this guy is. And we were talking and we had a lot of synergy. He repped in Mallorca, but he was in the north. He used to work for Intersun, and then obviously when they went bump, moved to Sunworld like me. And I sat there and I thought, I had a picture on my phone of the picture in my bedroom. And I went up to him and I went, is this you? And he went, he swore. He said, that's Sanamar in Mallorca. And I went, yes, and next door but one is me. And it was just
20 years later.
34.
34 years later.
So he was a bit older, like we all are.
Oh,
glasses,
yes.
But it was his voice. He's from Essex. So obviously it all spread. Oh my God, she used to work with him in Mallorca and all this. And
it all just came flooding back.
It's a little bit like the army, the travel industry. you know people that know people that know people. Do you know what I mean? And then I was like, oh, the other girl in the photo, I've lost touch with her. Can you give me her email or phone number?
Oh, so you've been able to connect
Yeah.
back with your old team.
It's mad. It's absolutely madness. So yeah, and that was like 1992. 1992.
Oh,
And now
and after all this time back together. So coming back to your company and information for local people and working with you, what would you like local people to know about you and why they would come to you to arrange?
Well, hopefully you've seen my passion about travel in this podcast.
I definitely have.
I'm a local. I can give you the insider tips. It's not just a case of you're a customer coming into a shop, because I work when the shops are closed, with it being my own business. You're not going to be talking to a call center. You're not going to be talking to AI or a bot. You're going to be talking to me. And to me, for me, always was drilled into me from day one with customer service is key for me. It's like if I get bad customer service, it's like, I'm not going to use them again. No, I don't care, because it doesn't matter. No matter what, it's always the customer that comes first. And yes, people can book their own holidays online. Fine, I get that. But when you want to go that little bit further afield, or you're a nervous traveller, I've had a few of those lately, you know, it's just nice to be able to go, Ange, what do I do with this? Where's my tickets? Don't worry, they'll be with you in a couple of weeks. You know, those type of questions where people might feel a bit, you know, silly asking a call center. They know that they can even, you know, they don't always have to call me. They'll text me, what about this? You know, and also like this week, I've had somebody go on a Morella cruise and it's just dropping them a text. Hope you have a fab time. And then I got a text back, oh my God, we're already on board. It's amazing. You know, and that makes it all worthwhile. Coming back and people sharing their stories again. That's the passion for travel. I haven't traveled everywhere. I wish I could afford to, but I haven't, you know, and it's just like, and for me, it's having that happy person. So I've got a nice core group of regular clients, but I do want to reach out more and meet more people that love the passion for travel, you know, and love sharing their stories. You know, my serial cruiser, she's been on loads of different cruise ships. She goes on her own. And it's little tips like that. Oh, if you're a solo traveler, this cruise company is really good. They really make an effort with people on their own, you know, and it's all those little tidbits that you pick up as a travel agent.
And something that you'd never know if you were booking it
online
for yourself. And I have to say that people do buy from people. It's that age-old story, isn't it? And you are such a brilliant personality and character. I can understand why people come to you.
I like to get to know people. It's like I've got a couple in Sheffield, never met them. He was my first customer and he books Goa twice a year with me. I know what music he likes, never met the guy, but we have a chat and it's building those personal relationships. You know that if your holiday's cancelled, you're protected. And a lot more people are coming back to travel agents because of that. Yes, you can get it a little bit cheaper online, but what happens if it all goes wrong? Who have you got to talk to? You know, a website, a bot. And I tell you, I really dislike bots and AI right at the minute. It's like,
you want to talk to an actual person. Absolutely.
Because like I'm a people person. And I think that's what I found hard during COVID, that you're in your little room, aren't you? And you haven't got that contact with people, and coming out of COVID and doing all the networking. But again, for me, the travel club is not just traveling, it's sharing your passion. So having these little meetups for coffee, introducing people. I mean, I've mentioned it to people when I've been to gigs in Manchester. Oh, I'm really interested in that. Well, just because you don't live locally doesn't matter. You can like my page. And if there's a tour that you're interested in, join me at the local airport or join me in the destination, you know, and then we'll go together. And I think that's missing.
Yeah.
And more people are looking at tours, adventure, cruises. They want to see more of the world. I'll tell you what my bucket list is after South America. Antarctica. People go, oh, I've got to win the lottery though to go there. What resonated with me is I did a full day training about expedition cruises. Obviously the wildlife, the whales, the penguins. But one of the guys said to me, he said, this is the only place on earth you can still be an explorer. And that to me was like,
sounds like an invitation.
Okay. I could do that.
Well, we'll have to invite you back when you've been on your Antarctic adventure.
Ooh, that might be
Angela,
a
we
while,
could
yeah.
talk all day. You've got a million stories to
I
tell,
have,
and I really do appreciate you spending the time to talk
I
to
can't
us
believe
about
how
everything
quick
that you're
it's
doing.
gone.
It absolutely has. Now, I'm going to, it probably won't be putting you on the spot, but have you got anything that you can say to us in Spanish to sum up you in a couple of sentences?
Y si quiere reservar un vacaciones conmigo and me. And that basically is, I'm a very nice lady. If you want me to book your holiday, give me a call.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.